This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, leading the league in podcasting entertainment.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. This is a Fast Break Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. Alongside me, as always, is Ricky Widmer.
What's up, guys?
And Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
And today we are talking about Anthony Davis for MVP. We're also talking about Marvin Bagley III and what team best fits him in the NBA draft. We're rounding it all up with some Grizzlies talk and the NBA draft. Which prospects best fit the Grizz? But before we jump into all of that, we got some things you need to check out. Patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast. If you want to be on a podcast monthly, head over to patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast and check out that $10 tier. But we also got monthly podcasts for people who join at the $1 or $2 tier. Also check out mostvaluablepodcast.com. I was wearing the shirt last week. I think you should come over and check out the store that we have on that website as well. You can also see everything that we post over on the site. And finally, if you're listening on iTunes, give us 5 stars over on iTunes. We need the support. We need the help. We appreciate the help as well. So head over to iTunes, give the Fast Break 5 stars over there. And also, since you're there, just go over to the Onside Kick. Rate that 5 stars. Primetime Podcast, 5 stars. And then the Rick and Johnny Podcast, 5 stars. But boys, let's jump into it. We're going to be doing Wet Boys today, but we're going to be moving it behind the AD topic. We did some show reviews, Most Valuable Podcast did. Mark said, hey, let's try to change this up a bit. Let's put Wet Boys in the middle. So let's do that. Let's jump into AD first, and we're going to talk about AD for MVP. Pelicans on a 70-game win streak currently, and AD just had a monster February where he was not only a 2-time Wet Boy, he also shot 50% from the field, 34% from 3, averaged 35 points per game, 13 rebounds, 2.2 blocks, 2.5 steals, and also 1.5 assists. A monster February for AD with DeMarcus Cousins being out. So right now, we see what AD's doing for the Pelicans. This team looks great out there. They're winning ball games. Does AD have a solid enough of a shot to overtake James Harden for the MVP?
I think he does. It's going to be a lot of work because, again, this is, he was kind of sharing the load heavily with DeMarcus Cousins, like you mentioned. So really, we're getting like AD unleashed for these last 20-some games. I think that there's a lot of ground to make up. At the same time, James Harden has his Batman-Robin duo going with CP3. So I think it's fair game. I think if AD can carry this team into the playoffs on a strong note, he should definitely deserve a spot in the running.
It's James Harden. Like this year, the MVP is going to be like this year. Yeah, can AD technically win it? Yeah. Like, I could technically win the lotto if I buy a ticket, Dave. But
I'm just saying,
I'm
James
not
Harden
going to.
Is like the continual runner-up to MVP. That's kind of historic.
Well, Ricky's saying this is the year.
That's the thing.
That's the last 3 years.
Here's what I think about. Honestly, I'd give the MVP to LeBron this year, especially with how he's playing with that team. But they're a 3rd seed in the East. So
they're
it's
also
like,
losing,
they are losing games. Here's what it sits down to me. You got James Harden, Giannis, AD, and LeBron. Those are my MVP top 4 right now. When I look at James Harden compared to Giannis and AD, because like with LeBron, what we just stated, you have the Bucks who are a 7th seed. They've been in that lower 4 in the East all year. The Pelicans, AD's had DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, he's being unleashed. But look at James Harden. Yeah, I have CP3. But look at the stats I'm putting up, plus my team right now. Yes, they're tied technically, but my team right now, and going into the All-Star game, we were the number 1 seed in the West, taking down the mighty Warriors for their top number 1 seed. And I don't know why I used air quotes because I like the Warriors, but I mean, that to me says more of you are on the best team in the West doing what you're doing, and you're going to make your team better for the playoffs.
So, we always go back and forth. I mean, last year...
Of what MVP really means.
Exactly. So let's define that first, because last year it was, statistical numbers. We saw Russ, first triple-double, averaging a triple-double throughout the season since Oscar did it back in the 70s. So, I mean, that was historical right there. People even disagreed, though, that he, should have won it because, people were saying stat inflation, all this stuff. People were thinking Kawhi was, more important to his team. You were on the LeBron train. James Harden, again, runner-up last year as well. So it was just because, Russ got the first ever triple-double average since Oscar did it, and that's why he got it. Then before, we talked about, Harden had better statistical numbers, but Steph was on the best team. So what is MVP? Because right now, AD is, probably having a more impressive season just because he's on a worse team, because he doesn't have CP3 around him. He's putting up stats that are unheard of, but also you look at usage, what AD's going through. I mean, to me, most valuable player means what player has been most impressive on the best team, and it's not really, you always have like the idea of like the Warriors too, who would be the MVP, Steph or KD, but it's pretty clear that James Harden is the best player on the best team. That's why I would say giving it to James Harden, 14-game win streak right now. Right now top of the West with the Golden State Warriors. That's why I would say it, because he's the best player on the best team. That's what I would go with for MVP. But how are we defining it these days?
I am with you. I see it as, when I think MVP, I'm thinking the best player, the best player right now, and usually the best player is on either one of the best two teams in either the East and the West. The thing that you got to look at, though, if we're going by technicality of the word, valuable means, hey, if I don't have you, like if Dave was the most valuable person on this podcast, without Dave, we couldn't do the show. We couldn't do it. That's where it gets skewed. Where take Harden off that Rockets team is still pretty good. You take Giannis off that Bucks team is still pretty good. The debate for me, it's not the best, but the debate for me is if we're going that route of like, who are you without that? Then it's AD or LeBron is what we're looking at. And LeBron usually wins that because the Cavs would be diddly-poo without him.
And that's the thing. I mean, everyone says, like, with LeBron should always be MVP because he's the best player in the world.
Yeah.
So that's the whole argument. Dave, what are you thinking?
I think that it's definitely a combo of the two. It's your team's success and your team's reliance upon you to get that success. And I think that's one of the weird things when you look at what James Harden is doing with this Rockets team. He's missed some games. CP3's missed some games. And you kind of go back and forth, but the record with both of them and the big, I always forget his name. Clint Capella out there, they have one loss. They're like 27-1 or something ridiculous. Like, that team is truly one of the most well-planned out teams in the league. And I think that's why I almost want to take something away from it. It's not the reliance on James Harden. He is special. There's no denying that. But that team was built around wings and three-point shooting. And with CP3 out there, like Ricky said, I still think they're a playoff team. I don't think they're above the Warriors good, but they're still like probably 4th or 5th in the playoff running.
And I mean, that's what I hate about this conversation because and I'm not saying you're doing it, just in general, we're supposed to take away from James Harden because Rockets management did a great job putting that team together.
To contrast that, you the LeBron James conversation, that's a team built around one man. If that one man is not there, they fail.
So that's why if we're going most valuable, it's LeBron, hands down.
Yeah, because the building is all supported for him. And James Harden is on a very good team. He has a phenomenal stat line. But again, it's the coach builds into that. The organization builds into it and makes you have those opportunities. Like, if he didn't have D'Antoni there, do you think James Harden would have these kind of stats? I mean, it's very situational.
That's why the coach might get him to play defense or want him to play defense.
I mean, he does every once in a while. But that's my whole thing is I lean back to AD and I go, look, this is a guy who in past years has been a dominant force, who literally did not have a match down low against him. And then you bring in another big who, everybody was a little concerned, like, oh, we're going to try to roll with 2 bigs and be different. Everybody else is going for guards. Fuck that. We're going we're going bigs, not even wings, just flat out bigs. I think that's kind of what makes it unique is we saw him with Boogie and the success there, Boogie being a facilitator as well as a scorer, and now Anthony Davis on his own again. And it's like he's reemerged as like a better form of himself.
Well, and the one thing with AD this year is when he hasn't been on the floor, he's missed 6 games. They're 3-3, and that was with Boogie in a couple of games. But they're 3-3 without Anthony Davis, so we really haven't seen that team without Anthony Davis and without DeMarcus Cousins. And we can just assume this team would be terrible without Anthony Davis or Boogie.
Well, from past years, we know without Anthony Davis, this team is not good. Unfortunately, he does have a track record with injuries.
Yeah, so I mean, right now, I think it's tough to say because right now what Anthony Davis is doing is ridiculously impressive. We're going to be obviously cutting in a little bit, but Anthony Davis is a wet boy again. I mean, just put up 53 points. Just put up the past 3 games before since we last recorded 27, 53, 26. And he's averaging 15 rebounds. Like, I mean, he's doing both offensively, defensively. He's doing everything for this Pelicans team where we talked, James Harden, Chris Paul, they're able to split the load. And when all 3 of them are on the floor with Capella, they have 1 loss and, they're able to dish around the ball. They have, so many players, Ariza, Tucker on the outside. I mean, like, they have so many players that they can rely on. I can't pull out all the Rockets players because there's so many guys that they can rely on that floor. But
did you say Ryan Anderson? Don't forget
I didn't
about
say
him.
Ryan Anderson.
Don't forget about him.
But, that's the thing. It's like there's so many different players that they can rely on, they can go to. Gerald Green at some points in the year as well.
The man from couch to the NBA.
That's more of the system. But then again, I look at it and I say, without James Harden, this team wouldn't be tied with the Golden State Warriors right now.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that I would go to is, right now, we didn't think anybody would be near the Warriors. And we saw, okay, sorry, Dave, but at least logically looking at it, with this team, with the past 2 years, like we mentioned last year a little bit too, and before the season, could the Rockets take down the Warriors? But that's in the playoffs.
Yeah.
We thought regular season-wise,
Warriors
if these guys
also know that there are many different seasons within this season.
Absolutely. And there's also been injuries as well. They've been gassed. I mean, like they've been to 3 straight finals, 4 straight finals, whatever it is. So, I mean, obviously these guys have been, used a ton, the Warriors have, but still, what the Rockets are doing right now is extremely impressive. 14 straight wins. The fact that they are this close with the Warriors and tied right now, and you look at this team without James Harden, there's no way they're near this. So that's why I would say James Harden's in the lead for me, because he's been doing this the whole season. Yeah. And while Anthony Davis has been extremely impressive with DeMarcus Cousins, without DeMarcus Cousins, I'm sorry, James Harden has been fantastic throughout this whole season, and this is a season award and not the best player in February.
Well, and that's the one thing I'm looking at right now is the thing that, reason why we're talking about this today is obviously if Boogie doesn't get injured, we're not having this discussion. And the one thing I'm looking at right now is if you look at AD and his production and his usage before January 26th, which was when Boogie went down, to after that, before the 26th, let's see, AD had only 2 games where he had 30 or more shot attempts. Do you want to know off the top? I looked it up. You want to know how many he's had since then?
How many games have they played?
They've played.
Just have to say all of them.
No, it hasn't been all of them.
So 14 of 15 or whatever it's been.
I'm counting one. He had 29-1, but I'm counting it because it's so close. 5 games where he's had 30 or more attempts. And it's like, of course, when you're shooting the ball that many times and you're the team's number one, not just the number one go-to option, but the only option on that team, because, I know they've got other players, but AD is the option.
Are you telling me Emeka Okafor isn't earning his minutes?
Dude,
he's
not fun to watch.
Not the answer. That's why it's like James Harden. Are we going to take away from him just because AD is going to get more usage because the Pelicans suck?
Is he getting more usage than
hold on.
Harden?
Just because the Pelicans... real quick. I know we'll go back to Dave just on that thing. But you can say the Pelicans suck without AD, but right now they're on a 7-game win streak. So that's why we're talking about it, is the fact that they're still winning.
I'm not saying wins and
DeMarcus
losses. I'm saying, are we going to penalize, and this goes back to what Dave was saying, but a different way of saying it, are we going to penalize James Harden because his team is really good around him, and Anthony Davis's team is not that good around him? Are we going to penalize Harden because, without Harden, the Rockets are still a decent team, but without AD, the Pelicans
are, second in the running for the number one pick.
Yeah, they're not even in the playoffs.
Okay, yeah. I get what you're saying there, but I'm not saying it's a penalization. But then again, we go back to the fact of most important player. And that's why we're trying to define what it means.
How do you value?
Is it the most valuable or is it the best player?
But
I would see it as the best player.
You could argue that Anthony Davis right now has been both since January 26th. You look at his usage.
But
he
all
has
year. MVP's an all-year thing.
That's true, but all year he's been great as well. I mean, it's not like Anthony Davis was a bum before this.
No.
Anthony Davis just is getting more opportunities to show what he can do. And since that injury, you see a true shooting of 58.3%, a usage of 34, an offensive rating of 113, and a defensive rating of 102. That's ridiculous right there. And I think statistically, since that game, he's averaging over 30 points, over 2 blocks, over 13 boards, around assist and a half, and he's shooting efficiently from the floor, and this team's been winning. So that's the thing with that is, I understand where you're coming from. We're penalizing James Harden because he's got a good team. Again, I would say I would give it to James Harden because he's consistently been the best player, and without James Harden, they'd still be a playoff team. They wouldn't be the number 1 seed in the Western Conference. So that's where I land on it. I'm not really sure exactly, what AD needs to do. I don't know if he can make up that lost time from January to November and October to what James Harden's been able to do for the 2017-2018 season as a whole.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty well put. It's not like anyone thinks that James Harden isn't like the incumbent. Like, he is the expected winner of this award this year. I'm saying that Anthony Davis is working his way into that conversation and has a legit point, because over the whole year, he's been putting up 28 and 11. Like, come on. It's not like he was a slouch before this injury to Boogie. He was still one of the best players in the NBA going into that, and now he's just getting more usage and getting put into a better position to be the number one guy on that team at all times. So I don't think by any means we're trying to knock James Harden. We're just trying to say that this is a guy who has had the whole year on a solid team, and he's playing phenomenally, versus Anthony Davis, who is now bringing up his game to an MVP level.
Well, and the thing, since Boogie got hurt, 8-5 the Pelicans are, 33 points per game, 13 rebounds, 2.2 assists, 2.3 steals, 2.4 blocks. He's shooting 49% from the field and 34% from three, and those are both close to 50 and 35. So, I mean, like, this team's winning without DeMarcus Cousins. They're winning because of Anthony Davis. Yeah. Again, it's tough because I think now he's in the MVP discussion from what he's done since Boogie. It's really about where would he go.
No one was even going to mention him.
Exactly. People
that's
were throwing
honesty.
Steph in there because of his shooting ability, what the Warriors are doing. People were throwing KD for the same exact reason. But then, really talking, can both of those guys be MVP candidates? And that whole discussion that we had last year as well. LeBron was obviously in there. James Harden was in there. Giannis was in there as well. So let's kind of thin this out a little bit and talk about guys who can win the MVP, and let's do some MVP rankings on where you would put everybody. So, Ricky, we'll go with you first. Obviously, you have James Harden. Give us your top five.
I'm going to have James Harden at number 1. We're going 5, you said?
5.
I'm going to go James Harden at number 1. I'm going to go LeBron James at number 2. Going to go AD at 3, Giannis at 4, and then Steph or KD, make your pick, either one of them.
So you're going because, and you're basing those rankings off of, they are the, you're going looking at the best teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
And then what those players mean to each team.
Yes. Okay. Well, me at first, it's what
so you're not
kind
going
of
off stats, you're going off of the team performance as well.
Not entirely off of stats. Some of that goes into, like, the one thing that I just pulled up, and it's interesting to me, is of the last 4 MVPs, starting back when Durant won it in 2013, 2014. Durant won the MVP. He was also the scoring leader that year. Then the next year, this is one of the anomalies. Steph Curry wins the MVP, but Russell Westbrook was the scoring leader. Ever since then, Steph the next year, MVP scoring leader. Westbrook last year, MVP scoring leader. So that's why, to me, Harden's number 1 right now. He's the scoring leader right now.
Let's be honest. No one wants to give the MVP to a defensive stalwart. Like, that's just not how people vote. It's not sexy.
Well, people see Kawhi, putting up like 25 or whatever he did last year. Still awesome, but no one's going to give it to him because he's the best two-way player in the NBA.
Before that, it was interesting. Like, after that, like 13, 12, and 11. So it's Carmelo Anthony, Durant. If we go MVPs, then LeBron when Melo won it. LeBron when KD was it, Rose when KD was it, LeBron when KD was it.
To be fair, Rose got it because everyone was sick of LeBron at that point.
And that was the thing, they were best team in the Eastern Conference, and then also, I mean, you look at LeBron was putting up stupid stats, but LeBron's putting up more stupid stats now, but they're like, oh, well, it's LeBron.
Exactly. I think there's just that, like, it's kind of a media problem at that point, like, because it's like the Jordan days. Jordan deserved it every single year that he won a championship. I don't think anyone can argue that.
He did get it every single. Did he? No, he didn't get it every single year.
That's
didn't
the point.
Karl Malone get one?
Yeah,
a couple other people did.
Yeah.
So that's
and
the
then,
thing. It's
Keaton got one.
Yeah.
Couple.
It's just there's such the problem with the voting around that is people get sick of giving to the same guy every year because you want to show different stars from your league, and I get that because there are a ton of guys and there's a ton of personalities in the NBA. And that's why I'm like, I could see why LeBron deserves to be there, but you're right. I've got right now, like, in all honesty, my rankings, like, it's Harden at 1, it's Bron at 2, I've got AD at 3, I've got Durant at 4, and I've got Giannis at 5. Like, I'm leaving Steph out, and that's purely because I think
why KD over Steph and why KD over Giannis?
I think KD is just, I don't even know, like, everybody wants to call, like, Porzingis a unicorn. No, I'm saying, like, the words. Like, everybody calls Porzingis a unicorn, and in my mind, I'm like, KD is as unique, if not more unique, than what Porzingis is. Yes, a 7-foot-plus guy who can shoot from the outside, who plays amazing defense. KD is that. He doesn't play the amazing defense, good defensive, but he also has amazing handles. He is something that no one over 7 feet, like we've seen, be that smooth outside of what we're starting to see with Ben Simmons.
Well, technically,
no.
Technically,
He was
KD's
last measured when.
Technically, KD's not 7 feet tall.
He just says that.
With shoes, without shoes.
I say, look at him standing next to people on his team who are 7 feet tall.
Yeah, but and the one thing with KD too is we kind of expected this. Like with KP, we're calling him unicorn because he was taken fourth, and everyone's like international. Like we knew he had the possibility of being good, but when he first came out, we're like, oh my god, this is ridiculous. We weren't expecting this from an international player. So I think that's one reason why he gets the unicorn label. But KD, we knew he was going to be stupid good. I mean, we saw him at Texas, we saw him throughout his career at OKC and Golden State, and again, I think it's KD's kind of put in that same range. He's probably the second best player in the NBA. Behind in front of Harden, behind LeBron and Curry.
Yeah.
But with KD, it's just consistently we know what we're getting from him. Unless he's going to do something outside of the normal.
He's not going to surprise you.
Yeah.
He's just amazing, and that's sort of the thing. That's why I've got him in there. Curry, I think that KD is the better player on that team. I think as far as impact, you can make the argument both ways for Curry versus KD. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's ever going to be a real answer on who is more valuable to the team. But what I see out of KD, to me, seems more valuable to this Warriors team winning games.
Well, and then there's the two things where when Curry was hurt, the team didn't look as good as they currently do.
Right.
But then again, KD's been healthy throughout the whole season. So, there's that two, dichotomies of like which one's going to be what.
Dichotomy. I like it.
I'm smart. I read books. I don't, but I have read a book before.
No one was saying you weren't smart, man.
No, but I mean, like, I have a.
I was thinking it in my head, and I was going to jump in if you didn't get it, and I was like, nice.
I have a verbose lexicon that I can delve into.
Slow down there, Stephen A.
Thesaurus up here.
Yes, I've been watching a lot of PTI when they do the word game. But anyways, my top 5 is James Harden's number 1. Number 2, I'll put LeBron James. I think LeBron still deserves it, but again, I don't think he's going to win it. 3's AD. 4, fuck it, DeMar DeRozan. That guy deserves some respect. I was
waiting for one of us to put a Raptor in there.
I know he doesn't have that.
Because they are the best team in the East.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I know he doesn't have those like eye-popping stats, only 22 per, nothing crazy. He's not the scoring leader or anything like that. But someone on the Raptors deserves respect. And like it's probably
Dwayne Casey.
Dwayne Casey might get coach of the year. They're going to get executive of the year probably, which they deserve. But again, it's just like I don't want even then. You don't know. You might go Morey.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody pulled a lot of strings.
But Toronto needs some credit, and I would say with what they're doing so far, DeRozan needs to be
give
thrown
him the credit
in there.
to be in the top 5. Yeah.
And then I'll put Giannis in there with the Warriors again. I don't know which one is more important.
Yeah.
So that way,
they
I don't
detract
think
from each
they
other.
should be top 5. I mean, I think they're both ridiculous players, but how can one be more valuable than the other if they're both the number 1 team? The Western Conference are tied for number 1 team in the NBA in the Western Conference, and we're still not sure which one's better. And that means neither of them are top 5, or they're both in the top 5. And I can't put both of them in the top 5.
Fair enough.
With James Harden, I can look at it and I would say he's more important to that team than Chris Paul. Chris Paul's been a fantastic addition. Yeah. He's awesome this year. But
it's
again,
not Chris Paul of like 5 years ago. It's a little bit older, a little bit more vet savvy, but he knows when to turn it on.
Harden's the best player on that team.
Yeah.
So and that's why Harden's number 1. I think that AD can win it, but what he needs to do is take that team to the 4th or 5th seed. And he needs to continue this winning streak that they're on.
They can't lose a game.
I don't know if they can't lose a game, but if they only have 7, 6, 5 losses, ending this season, from this point on, he's definitely going to be probably 2 and possibly even fighting for 1 if he's able to take that team to the 4th or 5th seed in the Western Conference, because people see that how important he is. And if he keeps this up, he's probably going to be nearing on that scoring title. He's going to be probably posting 15 boards. He's going to be probably Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he has the ability to just rack in awards if he's able to take them on a crazy run. But any final thoughts, guys?
Well, my final thoughts is I did the stat checking. Barkley won it in 93.
I was going to do that
won
too.
it in 97.
Yeah,
and
so
Robinson
the middle of the that doesn't count.
Robinson
the half
and Hakeem
season
won
don't
it.
count.
No, but I'm saying like the middle ones.
Yeah,
like that's Hakeem and
but
and
I
Robinson
don't count those because he was in baseball.
And Magic had the 2 years before the double three-peat, so it's I'm just saying Michael Jordan was sort of the best for that whole time. Credit due to Magic, phenomenal player, but just
that was passing the torch because Michael didn't.
Michael won it, and then Magic won 2, and then Michael won it again.
True. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so
it
I'm
was
just
kind
saying.
of the passing of the torch. That was the in between. And then when Jordan won the finals, it was like, okay, kid, you're the best.
You're the best. We know. Yeah, I'm with you though, Sean. I think that it's going to take an amazing run to finish out the season for AD to be in it. or for him to win it. I think that he's definitely deserved his name in that conversation, though.
Yeah, and especially what they've been doing so far and what AD has been doing on the floor. He's been stupid good. But then again, we know that guys, and we talk about this is why we made Wet Boys pretty much, is because when these guys go on these crazy runs, we want to be able to mention them, but it's like we don't want to make crazy claims like, oh, is Anthony Davis the best player in the NBA? But then he falls off just a little bit because he's not putting up 35, 17, and 5 blocks.
The Rockets haven't lost a game in like 3 weeks almost.
Yeah, for a 14-game win streak.
I mean
it's been insane what they're doing. So that's why
that's the problem. If the Rockets keep doing what they're doing, I don't know if anyone can knock off James Harden.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like you're going up against a guy who didn't lose in February.
Yeah,
the last loss was against New Orleans actually on January 26th.
Kryptonite,
and that was the game that DeMarcus Cousins got hurt. So it was technically a win too, because then. They knocked out a fierce opponent because if they get the 2 seed and New Orleans stays at the 2nd, well, they're facing a New Orleans Pelicans less boogie. Anyways, throwing that out there. But even then, before that,
I love that perspective.
They were from January 8th to February 28th. They have 2 losses.
Jeez
to LA
Christ.
and New Orleans, which is ridiculous. The Clippers, by the way. Let's move on now. Since we just did a whole topic on them, let's talk about Wet Boys. AD, again, is climbing up the leaderboard. He has now taken the #1 spot in the 2017-2018 Wet Boy total. 4 weeks now for AD being a Wet Boy. If you're new to this topic, Wet Boy is a player who is red hot throughout the past week since we last recorded to the day we are recording, a guy that put up stupid, ridiculous numbers, and we gotta give him props. These are the soggiest of shooters, the wettest of boys, the dampest of dudes, the moist men.
Thank you. That's the one I was hoping for.
I messed up the order. Yeah. We're talking about Wet Boys. Ricky, give us your Wet Boy.
Well, my first one is the King LeBron James. Not just 31, 11, and 9 this week, but you got the milestone. You got the 38-8 overall. You've got everything for what I believe this last month he averaged a triple-double for the entire month. Like,
it had to be the shortest month of the year.
Like, he is, yeah. Well, he could do it for 2 more days, 3 more days if he needed.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Are we gonna go back to January and take his last 2 games in January? Or are we gonna take the first 2 in March?
I'm just ESPN and
I'm saying like he could possibly do it.
This is the guy, Wet Boy for the week.
All right, not giving props for the amazing dribble.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. I was thinking about James Harden. So I put him on skates.
Rocco and Embiid and then Tristan
It was right
Thompson,
through TT's leg, where he just threw the what was it like?
No, it was behind the back.
It was behind the back
through TT's legs, though.
Through TT's
and
legs.
then he gets it, and the best part, puts it in for 2.
I mean, that
he
was
complete
just
the play.
It was an and one.
Yeah, he complete the play. That's the best part.
One of the coolest things we saw all week.
Yeah.
My Wet Boy for the week, I'm giving some love to those Phoenix Suns. Those boys are just they're racing for the tank.
They're so bad.
They are incredibly bad. But you know what's fun about them? Devin Booker. Devin Booker's that shining ray. He's putting up, just an easy 36, 8 and 5 on like 47% shooting, 42 from behind the line. Like, come on. I know this kid's amazing, and I honestly I want to keep pushing him because like I know that they don't get enough love because they're just an awful team. Now he's got a point guard there, a real point guard. Thanks, Orlando.
Well, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with their drafting.
Yeah,
because if they get another point guard, if they have the opportunity to take a Sexton, I don't know if they take Trae Young, but could you imagine Trae Young and Devin Booker in the same 1-2 guard combo?
Right now they are number 2.
Yeah, so I mean they're probably gonna maybe go Luka, possibly Ayton if he's still available. They could still win the lottery.
Who knows? I mean, they get screwed in the lottery a lot. I could see them dropping back to like 4 or 5 easy.
It'd be crazy to see what happens if they're able to put Ayton down there. Probably be the smartest choice. But I mean, if they're able to get a point guard like Sexton or Young to pair with Devin Booker, watch out, world. I mean, you got Splash Brothers 2.0.
Give this boy
some help.
That's all I'm asking. Give this boy some help.
And I'll give Josh Jackson credit. He's getting better
quickly.
He's getting real. I mean, we talked about Brandon Ingram. Not having a great rookie year last year. He's been ridiculous so far this year. I mean, Brandon Ingram as a point forward has been awesome this year, and we can see the development in Josh Jackson. Could possibly be the same thing. So we'll see what happens with Josh Jackson. I don't know if he's going to be that point forward, but still, I mean, 2-way player, Josh Jackson, if he's able to develop that jumper, can be ridiculous. Anyways, my Wet Boy of the week, we already talked about him, Anthony Davis. In the past games, They have a 7-game win streak, but Anthony Davis, 35 points per game, 15 total rebounds per game, 2 blocks per game. I think he's also got a little under 2 steals a game. He's also averaging around an assist and a half a game, shooting 50% from the field. Didn't hit a 3, but he is efficient from the line, 84% for AD and the brow. So giving some love to Anthony Davis again, the now leader in Wet Boy. What are we calling this? Wet Boy honors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wet
Is that what we're
Boy-
calling
And the 2018.
And then we're gonna have the
2017-2018
wet-
season.
And then we're going to have the all-time Wet Boy award at the end of the year.
But is it
Well, it's
all-time
not
Wet Boy
all-time,
or is it
it's
Wet
for the
Boy of the
season.
year?
It's Wet Boy of the Year.
Wet Boy of the
Yeah.
Year. So this is a Wet
And then,
Boy.
like,
So we got
years down the line, we have the all-time Wet Boy.
So he's got a
Yeah.
Wet Boy honor.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And he did just pass up James Harden.
he did.
So how the rankings go right now, AD has 4. Harden and LeBron are tied 2-3 at 3. And then we have a now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 player tie at
Jesus
2.
Christ.
To be fair, Devin
Devin
Booker
Book
got
just
2,
added into that.
but the Suns themselves have 1, so I would
Nope,
argue.
it's not on the, didn't put it on the list.
no,
It's not on there.
No, the Suns are on the list.
Didn't put it on there.
You should put the Suns on the
Nope,
list.
you threw that vote away when you said the Suns.
No, the Suns should be.
Wet Boys are players. It's one
No.
player.
Okay,
It's a
first
Wet
off,
Boy.
that whole team.
first off, you were on the podcast
Yeah.
when that happened. Put that on there. Put that on there. Put the Phoenix Suns, one Wet Boy. All
Okay,
right.
sure, I did it.
No, you
He
didn't.
did not.
Put the Suns on the.
Okay, I
think
will.
you shared the. I think you shared the link with us. I'm editing that. Anyways, he's gonna take off the permission now. Anyways, fuck you, Ricky. Put the Phoenix Suns as a Wet Boy.
They earned that Wet
They
Boy.
got the vote. All right, this is going on too long. We got to wrap this up. I'm totally off track now. You suck, Ricky. What were we talking about? Come
Wet
on.
Boys.
Wet Boys. Oh, it's a Wet Boy honor. So now he's
Yeah.
the leader in Wet Boy honor with 4. But an honorable mention.
The Wet Boy race.
The honorable mention this week goes to Damon Jones for getting a bowl of soup thrown at him by J.R. Smith.
What kind of soup do you think it was?
We were talking about that.
I-
I see JR as a grilled cheese tomato soup guy.
What? Really?
Yeah, I think as crazy
I
as
could
he
see
is,
tomato soup.
I think
could
as
see it.
crazy as he is on and off the court, as goofy as he is, I think he is a classic when it comes to the soup and lunch combo of a grilled cheese and tomato soup. I think
respect
JR
that.
is pretty calm when it comes to his
Could
food.
you imagine if it was like a cream of chicken rice or something like that? Like a cream soup instead of like the regular brothy soup?
That stuff could like scald you.
No, it could.
But that's the thing when we're talking, is it a
But, like-
gazpacho? Is it
Oh,
cold?
yeah. See, you stole my thunder there.
But then also, I mean, like,
I hope it was cold
was it
for
reheated
Damon.
soup? But did he not throw the soup in the microwave yet? You know when you get like you go out to a
Oh,
restaurant,
Campbell soup?
Yeah.
No, you go out to a restaurant and get
Oh,
soup,
okay.
but it's like you
In
put
the
it in the
container.
fridge.
To go,
Yeah,
yeah.
you get it to go, and that's in a styrofoam container, and
Yep.
you're like, oh, I'm gonna reheat this up tomorrow, and it's just that like jelly, disgusting blob,
Ugh.
and you have to put water in it. Maybe it was just that like
You put
that-
water in it?
Well, yeah,
You gotta put milk in it.
No, when it's that blob, you put water in it.
I'm a cream soup guy, so I put the milk in to make it a little
I
more
say,
creamy.
yeah.
Probably shows
He
the
knows what
difference
he's doing.
between this and that.
It tastes better.
There's no
gives-
difference
gives
to
a-
me
gives a
because
little
it's
bit
just to
more
get
cream.
the liquid back in. The
Yeah.
liquid's already in there, Ricky.
I'm starting with Ricky on this one. I do the same thing.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's move into the world of college basketball and the NBA draft. We talked about the realm of Anthony Davis and his Wet Boys. He's now been a Wet Boy for 4 months. We're getting out of the NBA. We're going into the college basketball world, and we're talking about the Duke freshman, Marvin Bagley III. And we're going to give a shout out to Free Game over on Twitter. You can follow him at Negrodamus. And he slid into the DMs late last night and said, why are y'all ranking Marvin Bagley so low? And I just went into the fact saying that I don't know what he will play in the NBA. I don't see his offensive game translating over too well. To start whatever team he goes into, he's not going to be, what he's doing right now at Duke. He's not going to be the guy with the ball in his hands consistently. He's going to need to work off other players, and I don't know how he's going to do that exactly. So, looking at this, Marvin Bagley, we see the athleticism, we see the talent. He's super talented. If we're going based on talent, he's probably a top 3 player, probably even above maybe Ayton just with what he can do overall. I mean, Ayton, what Ayton can do in the NBA is ridiculous. But I mean, like, shooting wise,
College is different.
athleticism,
Yeah, best college
dribbling.
player doesn't really always translate.
Exactly.
That's what we're saying.
So I mean, right now he's been ridiculously impressive, and that's one thing that you can't take away from him. It's how is he going to translate to the NBA? So it's probably perfect that we're talking about which team best fits him, because if he goes to the right team and they're able to really show what he shows best, this guy might be a top NBA player. And Negrodamus over here saying that he's going to be putting up 18 points per game and 9 boards in his rookie year. So do you agree with that? Because that's a ton. The last guy to do that, I think, was Cat. But talking about this specifically, which team best fits Marvin Bagley III?
I mean, I just want to say also Ja that year.
He put up 17 though.
Rolling out of bed.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I think the cool thing with Bagley is that there's a couple of teams that could fit him. It really just comes down to like his usage because he is, really athletic, really quick, and has a motor that doesn't turn off. And that's what I like to see because the whole year has been that way. Even coming after he's coming out of this injury, still has the same motor, hasn't dropped off even a little bit. Mm-hmm. So like that, those things are all great things to translate to the next level. Like you said, the question about the fit and the where is he going to translate that offensive game at the NBA level. That's why I think that not only could he go to, and I hate doing this now because the bottom of the NBA is so close. Mm-hmm. So I'm not mocking him to the number one overall slot, but I'm saying these teams could fit well. Like I know we're talking Memphis later, so I'll just mention Memphis could work for him. I think Dallas would be an interesting thing if this is the last year of Dirk, even if it's not, they're rotating that size. And I think that he would be a good fit. He can bounce between the 4 and the 5 for them, especially with Harrison Barnes mostly playing some forward time this year. And I think the one weird one to me is that I think that he actually would fit well in Sacramento. And I know a lot of people are like, but you guys have Willie Cauley-Stein and Scale, and they've invested stuff there. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying this is a young team, and I like what he could bring to them because I like the pairing of him with De'Aaron Fox, Buddy Hield, our boy Bogdan. Like I think that if you have that group, I really do like his fit there as well.
Well, and the one thing, too, you mentioned a little bit right now, just separating 1 through 7 is a game and a half. I mean, right now, Brooklyn is sitting at that 7 spot, but they're only a game and a half of that number 1 seed. It's just because Memphis has lost 12 straight games.
Yeah,
they're that number 1 seed.
They're impressive at the tank game.
We don't know which teams are going to be where when the NBA draft comes along. So, I mean, we could talk about which teams are going to be best fitting to Bagley. We look last mock draft, we had him going to Memphis at that 6 spot. So, right now at 6, that would be Orlando, Brooklyn, Chicago, New York, all those teams after him. Yeah. That would be possible fits if at least we're going off his the last mock draft. Ricky, are you agreeing with Dave with the teams he threw out there?
The team that I was thinking about before Dave even threw him out there was Dallas, because the way the mock kind of rolls right now for me is, Memphis was great last time we did our mock draft, but now they're the number 1 pick. I know we're going to get into them later, so I won't go too far into it, but spoiler alert, if you're going to take a big, you're going to go with Ayton over Bagley. I know the difference of one's going to play the 5, one's going to play the 4.
Right.
But I don't pass. If I need a big, I'm taking Ayton over Bagley no matter what. It's going to be 4 or 5. The next possible team, the next teams that could use bigs, Phoenix could go ahead and take them. I don't think they would.
Disappointing play.
I think they would go with a guard at that point.
Yeah.
But Dallas to me, because it's like, okay, you know what? At this point, what do we do? Do we go with a guy like Mo Bamba? Do we go with a guy like Marvin Bagley? And the thing that I look between the two, because that's what it is for me. Right now, Ayton's at the top. Then it's Bamba and Bagley are my next two bigs.
Straight disrespect to Triple J.
Yeah, we'll throw in Jared Jackson.
Triple J is there. I have him 4 right now. I have him right behind. Him and Bagley will then fight for 3.
And then I disagree with that because I have Bamba at 2, Jackson at 3, Bagley at 4, and then Dave disagrees with that
because he's got Jackson at 2,
and Bagley at 3, and Bamba at 4.
Yeah,
but the point I'm trying to make is
a lot of bigs.
Dallas could be interesting because just between Bamba and Bagley to me is a player where he does a lot of things. But he doesn't do any one thing really well to me, where it's like he's got a variety, but he can improve in all of his areas, whereas you have a Mo Bamba where it's like, hey, you know what? Yeah, defensive stalwart, at least he's really good in one area, and I know what I'm getting in that area, and I don't have to improve everything.
But why is that a negative for Marvin Bagley? If he does a lot of things well, why is that a negative? Because the athleticism is there, the size is there, the body, the build is all there. Where Mo Bamba, he needs to get bigger.
Because to me,
he needs to become more of a basketball player. He's got a lot of athletic and body abilities. He's with the 7'9" wingspan. But with Bamba, I don't know if that polish is on that basketball game where you look at Bagley, he's able to handle a little bit. He's able to drive. He's able to shoot a little bit. He needs to tweak those things, but there's a lot of things he does well. I see that more as a positive compared to where Bamba, you need to really work on his offensive game.
And another thing that plays into this, I like that you brought up the handles for Bagley. That's one of the reasons why I would still move away from him with Dallas and go with a Bamba, because it's like, we've got Dennis Smith Jr. He's our main ball handler. We don't need.
I don't think anyone's going to say Bagley's are going to be your main ball handler
I know.
at any point.
But he can handle the ball too, just not like a LeBron James and a forward type of situation. One team that I thought about, not solid on this fit because I'm not solid on either of the guys playing center, but it could be interesting. If he goes to 4 right now, could the Hawks think about it? Because they were a team, when they were number 1, we said for me, no question, Ayton's your guy.
Right.
But could they go Bagley and maybe then try to figure out, I know they got John Collins there, but is John Collins more of a forward and Bagley would come in playing that 4? I don't think he would play the 5 coming in for the Hawks.
Well, one thing, Collins is bigger.
Yeah.
So at least,
fatter?
Broad-wise. Yeah, I mean, he's
fatter. Fatter's the wrong way.
Yeah, and he's more built. He's solid. He's an older guy, too. I mean, he was a sophomore at Wake Forest, so now I think he's got 3 years on Bagley, 3 or 2 years on Bagley, age-wise. So, I mean, that's something where Collins is a little bit bigger, might be able to face defensively centers a little bit more, but none of those guys are really
Bagley
great.
is technically 1 inch taller, too.
Yeah.
6'11",
but
6'10".
like size-wise.
Yeah,
like
muscle size, too.
Yeah, broadness wise.
Yes.
I think that, you don't really have a true center there, and I think that's a good point. But what we've heard, at least coming out, is that they're not really set on keeping John Collins around. They're really going to be trying to, whoever they draft is going to be their guy that they're going to try to build around.
Then
John Collins has been good.
They can draft Bagley then, and he can be their 4.
Yeah, but then again, at that point, it really comes down to exactly,
what are they going to do with Dennis, too?
But can he be a superstar?
Yeah.
Like
right.
with Bagley, if you're taking him, is he going to be the guy? Because your idea is, can he be the guy? And then if a guy like Trae Young's out there, Michael Porter Jr.'s out there, why would you take Bagley if you're more sold on a guy like Trae Young or Porter being more of a star than Bagley? Not saying that they are, but I'm saying if they feel that way, then you're really in that situation of we are getting a guy who's going to be a focal point of our team. Which guy has the higher upside to be a superstar? Porter, Young, Bagley. That's going to come into the discussion as well.
Well, and then that's another thing. I know this isn't exactly fit, but it's one thing that could affect Bagley. Just looking at the draft right now, is not only does he have to fight off the I'm better than Bamba or Ayton as a big, he's also got to fight off the, let's say he's there for 4 for Atlanta, all right, do we go with Bagley, or we're not sold on keeping Dennis around, let's go after a Trae Young.
Yeah,
let's get that guard in there.
No, that's why I threw out Trae Young being in there because he's a superstar possibility.
That's why
they're not sold on keeping anybody.
And that's why, going back to what Dave said, I do, the Kings aren't, I'm not solid on it, but they're the one team that I know for sure would not go with a Trae Young.
And let me throw out one team.
Unless Trae Young balls in the tournament.
Before we talk about, one specific team that he's going to be a best fit for. I know this team is pretty low right now, and this is not a team that's for sure. I'll throw out your Bulls out there too, because I know people like
them up.
I know people like the Bagley Bulls fit for a little bit just because of what I'm going to mention because they have Markin in there. But the Knicks, right now, I think could be a nice fit for Marvin Bagley.
Especially when KP comes back?
That's the point. So you're going to have a guy in KP who can stretch the floor, who can work on the outside, work on the perimeter, and Bagley, with him, being able to, just, be a cutter at some points because he has that speed cutting the basket, he'd be phenomenal in that. We see KP being a decent passer. And also, what you can do as well is you can put Bagley, weirdly enough, in ISO situations and spread KP out where, if Bagley's driving, he can kick it out and they could swing it around to an open KP, and they're completely opening the lane up for Bagley to work. We've seen this work in college a ton. I think back to that Texas game where he's on, not Bamba, but it's Osterkowski. I always forget that guy's name, Dylan Osterkowski. I think that's his name. But
no relation to Dave over here.
No, because there's a Kowski on it.
I don't got a Kowski.
But he's on the right wing, and it's ISO ball. All the Duke players on the left side. Bagley's on the right wing, and he's just going one-on-one with this guy, and he's just torching him because this guy's bigger, quicker, faster, stronger, and he's able to pull up.
I hated that game. That game was so god-awful to watch, only because it's Bamba's out of the game. Bagley ruled the day.
Well, that's the thing. But that's the NBA, can you do that?
No.
But that was a wait. Would you hate basketball? It was a close game.
I'm saying,
you saw a star dominate. That's what you love in basketball.
I'm saying in overtime. Because once Bamba fouled out, it was, hey, let's throw it down to Bagley. And it's oh, my God, he's dominating. That's not what I wanted to see. I wanted to see a close game throughout.
But that's what you could see with the Knicks.
Yeah.
They can run offensive sets where they ISO Bagley on the right side.
But like Dave said, is he going to be able to do that at the NBA level?
Is he going to be able to outmuscle people, outsize them? I don't think so. And that becomes the question. You mentioned superstar potential and fit, and him working low post sounds great and all. And I'm sure he can come into the league, and he's decent sized already. It's just a question of, he doesn't have the experience working against NBA bigs, and it going up against guys who are like 6'10" in college versus like 6'10" in the NBA is a world of difference.
But again, we're not drafting guys on their rookie year performance.
No, and I understand.
This is what Bagley can become.
But do you want to draft a big, 4-5 guy in today's NBA as your guy for the team? That's why I don't think Atlanta would go with him. I don't think that he is the anchor. He's not a focal point of a team in my mind. While he brings awesome energy, I can see him easily being, like a 14-9 guy. Like, I don't see him being the superstar. I don't think he's Kevin Love in Minnesota. Like, that's not the
like a 2020, 2015 guy.
Yeah. That's not where I see him. Probably not fat. Yeah. Fat K Love's my friend. But I don't see him doing that. And that's just where I see him mocked out, like, is not that role. I think he is an awesome energy guy. I think he definitely can be a 4 or a 5 in the NBA because everybody wants to go smaller, more athletic. So he'll have the opportunities. Going up against guys like Larry Nance on the right now on the Cavs is playing center sometimes for them. So you will have opportunities to take advantage of guys. But I don't think that he is going to be like your star on your team. That's why I'm looking for teams who kind of have established guys maybe, and he can kind of be that awesome complementary piece.
That's why I'll throw out two. One's a little bit farther back. Like you said, the Knicks, I'll one-up you, Sean, the Clippers.
Whoa.
To where, like...
If he fell.
He's not going that deep.
That's also not a fall thing of... Detroit,
12.
we don't know how Detroit's going to do going forward. What if they lose a couple games, they move up in that draft order, and he goes into there? A team that could be in his range that I think would be interested in taking him. Let's see what they do with their contracts. What if Cleveland can be like, hey, you know what? We're going to work a deal to get TT out. We're going to get that contract off the books. Hey, we don't want Larry Nance to be our main power forward. Hey, he's here at 7. Let's get a guy like Bagley who can come in and be someone young for this team if LeBron stays too, or they think LeBron is going to stay. Because he could be a guy that because LeBron with that team can open up the lane,
right,
and then Bagley can work inside, outside, whatever he wants, and they can move K-Love down low sometimes. They can switch off whatever they want.
We see K-Love always working on the perimeter most of the time too. I mean, you're pretty much putting him in that TT situation too, and I mean he's a bigger than TT.
That's the
question:
is how much of an upgrade over TT would he be? And like, I don't know. I think it's marginal. I think he definitely has the body for it. It's just
I'd say offensively it's an upgrade.
Yeah,
defensively it's a downgrade.
That's the thing, and that's what do they need TT for on that team? And that's because K-Love can't play defense against 5s. So that's why I'm like, I like where you're going with get younger and bigger.
Yeah,
but like that's not a great swap out for them if they could even move TT's contract, which is a problem in itself. To be. Yeah, I kind of like the New York fit. We went into that. The one thing that's kind of like an outsider thing for me is like, what if a team wanted to trade up for them? Like, I'm looking at a couple of teams further back. Like, Phoenix has a lot of picks.
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Well, I mean, the Clippers have 2 picks too right now in the lottery. So
I'm thinking
they could possibly trade up.
If a team traded up for him, I could see Phoenix taking. If it landed like it did today, if they traded up, like they're 15 and 16 or something, to get back to like 8 or 9, 10, like somewhere in that range. Like if they get what they need at 2 and they could take him in that range, I think they'd be thrilled. I honestly do because. Dragon Bender's gotten a lot of shit because he has not wowed anybody. I still think he's young. I think he's a good passing big, and I think he's got potential. And honestly, Marquise Chris has been disappointing.
Well,
I think I can just honestly say that without anybody going, he's just disappointing.
Okay, he's been disappointing, and so is Bender. But again, these guys are still young.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still going to take a while. And when I first mocked, I was looking back at my mocks. Yeah. Chris was around 20 when that first started, and he only jumped because NBA execs liked him. I didn't see a guy that was ready for the NBA.
You saw the NBA body.
They like the body and they like the athleticism. And honestly, I kind of see it with Marvin Bagley, but Bagley's much better and
offensively as
well.
He's
got the athleticism too.
He's got the athleticism the same size as Chris, or similar at least in that aspect. He's got more polish to his game. But then again, I see some similarities between him and Marquise Chris, at least college-wise. I mean, obviously, Chris was working with DeJounte Murray, and it was different offenses, obviously better players on this Duke team. And now Bagley is the guy on that Duke team. Chris wasn't the guy on that Washington team. But you can kind of see similar bodies, similar athleticism. I think there's a thing with Bagley where I don't know what he will be able to do in the NBA. The talent is there. The athleticism is there. But again, You were saying 14-9.
I think that's
rookie
totally
year.
realistic.
And you can look at someone like Free Game who's coming out and saying 18-9, and that's cat numbers. And his argument's that yeah, and Free Game's argument was the fact that he's more polished offensively than Karl Anthony Towns was in his rookie year. He's a much better athlete. Face-up game's much better. I just don't know if you're going to be, if he goes to a team, if he's going to be able to show his face-up game, all of these things, because you look at that Minnesota team, it was Wiggins and Cat. That's all it was, and Levine as well.
You bring up a great point, because his usage, and that became a source of controversy with him coming back from his injury, is because he became that black hole of offense for that team. In the NBA, is he going to need that high usage to stay engaged, or will he be okay with a more limited role, not being the guy on a team? That's I think what I'd like to see how that plays out.
Well, and the thing that I'm thinking of is that Phoenix thing that you mentioned, Dave. Stay tuned for that. I'm going to bring them back in with the whole thing where you're saying get what they want at 2, then trade up.
Stay tuned for what?
I'm bringing the Suns up again in the next segment. It's what we call a tease in the biz, Sean.
Okay.
A tease. I'm teasing
I thought you meant just in this segment later. I'm like, just bring it up now, dumbass.
No, later in the Grizzlies segment,
45 minutes.
I'm going to bring the Suns up again. But no, I mean, for me, if I had to do it, I would think about it for Dallas, but my ultimate one, I really like the Knicks one that you brought up, because it's also, he can also get, and he being Bagley, can get into the game without having to worry about how do I fit with KP right away. He can just get used to the NBA, then KP comes back, February? It would almost be
almost
if we're
a full
going
year. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how he recovers.
Yeah,
but
it would be around this time where he'd be back with KP, and then KP's coming back to a kid who, hey, I've been in the NBA for half a year. I'm almost to my second year.
Well, and one thing, too, with Bagley is he seems like he could be a great pick-and-roll guy. We haven't seen that really shine at Duke so far.
Well, they kind of lack a true point at times.
So, I mean, we haven't seen him really work in the pick-and-roll.
Grayson Allen, not a true point.
He's not a point guard. Get the fuck out.
He handles the ball.
That's why our first reaction, both of us said, "Shut up." Like that should tell you something. Don't defend your take.
But I didn't like Grayson Allen.
No one's saying. We didn't say we dislike Grayson Allen. We're saying he's not a true point. The kid's a fucking shooting guard. Half the time he's sitting on the wing waiting for the ball to be passed to him. But we haven't seen Bagley work in the pick and roll, like truly work in the pick and roll.
Yeah.
And you think about the possibilities of a two pick set. Well, I mean, they don't really have a true point guard out in New York either, so that's really going to kill him. Because I know Moutier's been okay, but again, we don't know exactly what Moutier going to be.
The shining star.
Trey Burke too. Actually, I thought he was supposed to be my wet boy this week.
God.
But we know Frank is very raw right now. But you think of the idea of KP and Bagley setting two screens on the right side. They drive to the right side. Bagley rolls in through the middle of the paint. KP pops out. That's disgusting.
Let me ask you then.
I mean, I think fit-wise, New York's the best team.
I'm going to pop this question off then. You're at number 9. You're GM of the Knicks. Congratulations, Sean. I know it's the job you've always wanted.
Thank you.
What do you go with at 9 if you had to choose between Bagley and Sexton then?
Marvin Bagley won't be there, so count Sexton.
I'm saying if Bagley's there, do you go Bagley or Sexton?
Bagley's got a higher ceiling, so I'd go Bagley. Not even potential-wise or fit-wise. Like it's easy Bagley. Like I think
that's not the same case for everybody.
What do you mean?
I don't think everyone would agree that they take Bagley over Sexton.
Because I think what you were talking about, they need a point guard as well. Do you go that point guard in Sexton who we're saying we're comparing him and Trae Young, and he's one of the top point guards in this draft. Not a deep point guard draft though.
Right now with the Knicks, we see so many point guards that are starting quality. You can find those guys in free agency. You can find those guys somewhere. And also you look at the team right now. We don't know what Moutier will exactly be because he's still young. He's been okay in a Knicks uniform. And also Frank, we know he's more of a 2, but they want to develop into a 1. They're mostly going to put him at the 2 for the rest of the season. But we don't know what kind of jump he can take throughout his NBA career. So with the KP injury, I would take Marvin Bagley, not only because I believe he has a higher ceiling, but also he can be a guy that hopefully one day, in your eyes, could not only be a great counterpart to KP, but if KP doesn't come back the same way, he could become possibly the guy for the New York Knicks. I'm not saying that he could be, and will be, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that he will be, but he possibly could be if KP isn't able to come back exactly healthy. And if he does come back, you have a 1-2 punch that could possibly be dynamic in KP and Bagley. So if I am the Knicks at 9, even though it won't happen because Bagley's not falling to 9, I would go Bagley over Sexton.
According to you. I'm just saying, if you look at the top 10, though, like there's only one team that wouldn't take Bagley, I think.
Which one?
Orlando.
Okay.
Because if they're going to keep Aaron Gordon, which I know had been rumored a little bit on and off again, but if they're keeping Aaron Gordon, that's the only team that I would truly say 1 through 10 right now that wouldn't have a reason to like Marvin Bagley. I mean, he is a good college player, and I think that, like I said, not all of his game will translate, but enough of it so he's super effective, and I think that all of these teams would add value by adding him.
So
real quick, are we sure Orlando wouldn't add him? They like size, they like athleticism.
And they don't need point guards because DJ Augustine.
No, but I'm serious. Like we've seen that Orlando likes size and they like athleticism.
Well,
they drafted Jonathan Isaac. He's sort of been a ghost this year.
Well, he's been hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we haven't. Yeah,
I mean, Aaron Gordon's the same thing. I mean, athletic freak. Has a size and length. I mean, I wouldn't completely rule it out.
Three guys who are like 6'10" and up.
It's Orlando we're talking about. I'm not ruling Orlando doing anything.
Fair enough.
Well, like you said, 1 through 10, the one team sitting there right at 10 with the 70s. If he was there,
why not?
Would the 76ers take him?
I mean, would they need shooting? Yes, but at the same
do they
time,
need another big?
It depends on the contract situations. If they want to make any moves this offseason, they've got enough for one max contract. What else can they do? I wouldn't put it past them. It's a Colangelo.
They got enough for one LeBron.
I know Jake's going to kill me because he just sent me stats about how good Dario's been recently.
Yeah, Dario's been great.
But if Dario comes up closer to his contract and you have Bagley, Dario, and JoJo as your 3, Dario's coming closer to his contract, you have the ability to hold onto Bagley and you have the contract length. What if you just trade Dario for wing help and shooting help? I'm not saying like that would happen anytime soon, but you can move to the point where after a year of Bagley getting used to playing in the NBA and Bagley growing, and Dario starts saying, hey, I want some cash, but you want to be focusing on Embiid, Simmons, Fultz, and Bagley, then you could just move Dario for some wing help and some shooting help. So, I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say that, hey, Bagley, a guy who we think needs some work in the NBA to become a better shooter, to become a better ball handler, that he could work coming off the bench for the 76ers on a potential playoff team with them having that Lakers pick.
And Dario has 2 years with a club option before he's an RFA.
Okay, so he's still got a while.
But you look at that center position, and if you want to mix it up, if Rashawn Holmes, you might want to add a backup big. So I'm just saying.
And Amir Johnson's gonna be gone after this year.
Yeah, Christ, he better be.
So and they just got rid of Trev Book.
Yeah, no, that's my thing. Is like, could they? Yes, I totally think they could. Do they have better options to take? Probably.
Anyways, which team should take him? Which team is the best fit for Marvin Bagley?
I'm going to say the Mavericks.
I think
I'm going to go with Dallas.
If he can work in the pick and roll with Dennis Smith Jr., disgusting.
Yeah, I like the Mavericks. I think you pretty much talked me into it. I even want to say Bulls a little bit. Same reason you brought up the Knicks, and that's just you have a 5 or a 4 or whatever you want to call them.
If he's
who
there,
can shoot from the outside. I think he adds a ton of value. I would not be afraid to shy away from that. So I'll go Knicks.
If Bagley's at 8, the Bulls are taking him. Yeah, and he would be probably disgusting.
It's like we took Laurie last year, and I was like, why are we taking Markkanen? We need a point guard, and I've liked Markkanen
because Chris Dunn turned out to actually be able to play point guard.
I've liked the finisher. He's proven me wrong.
I think the best fit for him is still Memphis. That's why we mocked him at 6, but Memphis wouldn't take him at 1. However, with how close this stuff is,
who knows?
How much this can change, I think Memphis is still the team that best fits Marvin Bagley because with the way that Gasol has been shown to stretch the floor, working with Mike Conley, could absolutely be fantastic, and he's working with guys that he wouldn't be the number 1 guy right away, but at some point he will become the number 1 guy with how old those guys are. Conley, Gasol, Gasol possibly moved as well. I think it could be interesting. I think the Grizzlies would probably be the team that best fits him, and possibly the team that could have a chance of taking him, because I don't think Chicago and New York will be in the position to take him. I think Memphis, if they fall and start winning some games again, they would have the opportunity to take Bagley, and Bagley would probably fit best with them. But again, Bagley, you need size in the NBA. If he can shoot, he's going to be disgusting, and he just needs to learn how to play defense. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Again, the talent, the athleticism is there for Marvin Bagley. We just don't know how he's going to fit into an NBA system and how he's going to fit into an NBA team. But that's why we have the next 5 years to wait and see how Bagley fits. But anyways, let's move into the final topic, and we are talking Memphis Grizzlies draft here on the Fast Break Podcast for some Blog Talk Radio. Don't forget to hit us up on Twitter at MostValuablePod. Let us know how the flow's going. We put Wet Boys second, but if you're on YouTube, came out first. If you're watching on YouTube now, don't forget to hit a like. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to hit a like. Don't forget to like this video. And also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe. We're closing in on 10K. But now we were talking about which prospects best fit with the Grizzlies. And before I asked you guys which guy fits best and which guy is perfect in your mind, let's just go to Marvin Bagley first because we just talked about him in the podcast. We'll get him out of the way for Blog Talk Radio guys who we just did 27 minutes on Bagley. With Bagley, we look at him, we see Marc Gasol, we see Mike Conley there. His ability and Gasol's ability to stretch out the floor and his ability, Bagley is, with his athleticism, with his ability to cut, with his size, would work well with spacing on the floor, which the Grizzlies are able to do offensively. And defensively, Marc Gasol is still good, not great like he used to be, but he's still good enough to hide the inefficiencies that Bagley has defensively. So, fit-wise, it looks like Bagley is a good choice for them. However, right now they've lost 12 straight. I'm getting into it.
Okay.
However, they've lost 12 straight, and they're currently at the number 1 overall position. So we're probably not going to go Bagley with the Grizzlies. So there's obviously Luka, number 1. People have him number 1 on their big boards. DeAndre Ayton, number 1 at the big boards with 100K. We also have Trae Young for some people, even though he's been slipping a little bit lately. Which prospects best fit the Memphis Grizzlies at the number 1 overall pick?
I thought you were going to set me up a little bit differently. I thought you were going to set me up with the would you go and take Marvin Bagley number 1? I was getting ready to say no, I wouldn't. Like, my pick for the Grizzlies at number 1 is unchanged. It's DeAndre Ayton. Like, that is who I am going with because I look at their team right now. We all had them go Bagley in our last mock draft because that was where the best power forward was at that point. What they really need, they don't need to be a guard, so Luka's out of the question. They've got
in
Conley.
what world is this team not need? I don't think there's a position on this team that they don't need.
I would say they need a big more so than a guard, and that's why I would go Ayton.
If you just say they need and just stop right there, and that describes this Grizzlies team.
And then it's like, we got to narrow it down, Dave. That's why I'm narrowing it down. I would go with the bigs.
I just go BPA.
In general, and that's Ayton because I also look into it. You might be saying, but Ricky, they got Marc Gasol, and Ayton's not a 4, he's a 5. Yeah, Marc Gasol, I'm not sold on him being a Grizzly for much longer, and if he does finish out his contract, it's next year because he'll probably decline his player option to try to get more money, and at that point, I'd say, you know what, we've got Ayton. Goodbye.
And Gasol's also, it seems like he's sick of Memphis as well with everything that's happening this year.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets traded next year, so why not take Ayton now and just say he's going forward, he's going to be our big of the future.
All right, Dave, talk about Luka.
I think that I was going to say, I just don't think they go with a 5. I mean, Gasol, I don't think he rejects that option. He'd be 35 at the time, 36 maybe. So you're probably not going to get more than $26 million at that point in your career. I think that they need everything. They just best player available. And right now, the best player available is Luka for me. He does a little bit of everything. He's a great ball handler. He's a good scorer. He's a good facilitator. He's just a well-rounded player, and that's the guy you need on this team because you need to start building around someone because, let's be honest, we've been through the years of the grit and grind Grizzlies. This is now everybody's hurt, and we're slowing down. We're in the retirement home. I don't got a good name for that yet, but that's what it is. You basically survived this year off of Tyreek Evans having the best year of his career and Marc Gasol begrudgingly playing. That's it. Mm-hmm. So I don't think there's any one spot that you want to build around because you don't build around a 30-year-old Mike Conley. You don't build around a 33-year-old Marc Gasol. You're not going to compete with that. So you might as well just take the BPA.
So with Luka though, and we know you think he's BPA.
Yeah.
And we with Ayton, Ricky thinks he's BPA.
Yep.
But the whole thing is you're going to build around a player.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you want that player to be a superstar? Wouldn't you want that guy to be the most impressive thing you've seen
at 1 overall?
Years?
He better be.
So looking at this, Ayton has been impressive in spurts, but he's not that great defensively. Offensively, he's a monster, and you look at him, he's just physically impressive.
Imposing.
Luka, while he might be one of the most well-rounded prospects in decades, if not the most well-rounded prospect we've seen come into the NBA, again, is it sexy to take an international 6'8" guard who's not that athletic, at number one? So with Memphis, a team that isn't a big market, isn't really going to be getting a ton of national viewers, wouldn't you want to take a guy who is a complete superstar? Wouldn't you want to take a guy with that huge pop? Michael Porter Jr. is coming back to the Missouri Tigers
exactly where you're
in
going.
the SEC tournament. He's not playing today, but at some point he's coming back to the SEC tournament. I'm glad I held that pause a little bit longer. I got the
Did you
response.
mean to use the word pop? Because the whole time you're talking, I'm thinking, set me up for that wrestling entrance. Set me up, Sean. And then you pause. And I was like, yeah, Michael, because I knew you were going to say it. I love it.
I will not reveal my secrets. But Michael Porter Jr., this is a guy that we have seen coming into this season before he got injured.
Well.
He was the number one prospect coming into this season. He was my number one prospect coming into the season on my draft board. He's obviously fell due to the injury that he suffered against Iowa State in their first conference game this year, the Missouri Tigers. We only saw it for 2 minutes, but he's coming back for the SEC tournament, and that means he's also coming back for the NCAA tournament, as Joe Lunardi has them currently in the tournament. You look at this, and if he's able to come back, he's able to put up impressive numbers in the SEC tournament, and he's able to put up impressive numbers in the NCAA tournament and take them to the Sweet 16. This kid might put himself into number one pick talk again. And you look at it, I think he is a bigger star, has the potential to be a bigger star than DeAndre Ayton and Luka Doncic. He might not be, exactly there, physically, and he has those questions with the injury now, with suffering that injury to his back. But if he's able to be healthy and he's able to be on the floor, Michael Porter Jr., to me, before this season was a number one overall pick. And if he's able to come back and show that he's fine, he's a number one overall pick in my mind. So why wouldn't Memphis go with him?
Now, I'm going to say, when I gave my answer, right now, Porter Jr. not playing. I was actually going to bring him up later, Sean. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, as this segment goes on, bring up Michael Porter Jr. because he is coming back. But if he's on the table, then I kind of rethink my position a little bit, and I would probably go MPJ over a DeAndre Ayton, definitely over a Luka Doncic.
So the question is, how many good games does he have to have, because he is dealing with a limited time frame left?
Well, I mean, just play a good tournament. I don't even care if they lose that first
a good tournament is what,
game.
one game?
Hold on.
I mean, it depends on what he shows me.
Let's not bicker. Hold on.
Because a loss isn't just all on him.
Real quick, let me set this up.
Okay.
Before this injury, we always talked if he had a good NBA combine, he would still put himself back up into that top three draft talk. So if he's able to come out on the floor, be effective, shoot efficiently, show some nice shots, show the ability to drive, he's probably going to get at least 2 games to play. Because if they get bounced in the first round of the SEC tournament, and if they get bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament. So at worst, he's going to get 2 games. But I feel they're probably going to go at least to the second round of the SEC tournament, possibly even the championship game, because Kentucky's been up and down this season. Florida, obviously, last year was going deep in the NCAA tournament, but this year, a different Florida team. I mean, this is a Mizzou team that I'm not too high on, but if you add the number one player in the nation before this season back to your team, this is going to give you a spike. John Tay's been playing great, his brother. I mean, if you add a superstar like Michael Porter Jr., you can go to and win the SEC tournament. So that's what, 3-4 games? I think 3 games.
The SEC tournament, I was looking to see where they are right now, but heading into today, which was Saturday as we're recording this, they would be the 6th seed, where if they went to the championship and won, it'd be 4 games.
4 games. Okay,
they're probably going to get 4 because I don't see them being one of the bottom 4 teams.
Okay, so 4 games for Michael Porter Jr. if they go all the way to the SEC tournament. I think they get past that first round matchup, and they at least get 2 games in the SEC tournament, possibly 4. And in the NCAA tournament, you get probably 1 to 3 games because I don't think they're going to the Elite 8. You possibly get a Sweet 16 berth from them, but you get 1 to 3 games in the NCAA tournament. So, what? Because
I was going to say, looking at it, they would get in their first game a winner of Vanderbilt and Georgia. Could beat either one of those. And then if we're going off of...
Georgia's been sneaky good.
I'm just going to say, for the sake of argument, just go upsets out the window. I know it's against March, but that's how I'm going to do it. They'd get Mississippi State... Or no, they'd get the 3 seed, which would be Florida, then possibly the 2, which would be Tennessee, then the 1, which would be Auburn. That would be the toughest road for them to go through the SEC.
Again, I mean, you get 2 games at worst if you're the... If you're the Missouri Tigers. And then you probably get... So it would probably be 3 to 4 games you're going to get from Michael Porter Jr. If he's able to put up 28 and 3 and look good defensively.
Yeah, I mean that's attractive.
That guy's number 1 pick in my mind because he's coming back and he's perfect. I mean,
he's perfect. Whoa.
He's coming back and he's not showing any get-ups in this game.
Okay.
He comes back, wins a couple games for his team, and he's putting up 21 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and shooting around like 50% from the field, maybe 47% from the field. Hell yeah, that guy's a number 1 pick in my mind because he's already a good free throw shooter. We've seen his ability from the outside. Defensively, he has the body and the build and the athleticism to be a great defender. Michael Porter Jr. could definitely be a number 1 pick if he comes out and does that in the SEC tournament and the NCAA tournament. So Michael Porter Jr. to me, if he's actually coming back and he's healthy, number 1 pick in my mind. And he would fit great with the Grizz because not only is he filling the spots that Gasol and Conley don't play in point guard and center, he plays the 3 or the 4. He also has the ability to be the superstar when those guys actually retire and leave off. And also, Conley is still going to be there for, 3 more years because he just signed the 5-year deal for the most money in NBA history. So, I mean, he still has time to work with a guy like Mike Conley, Chandler Parsons as well, possibly Reek if he comes back, and Gasol for a little bit as well, as long as Mark is there. So, I mean, this is a team that could add a superstar in Michael Porter Jr. And as long as Michael Porter Jr. is healthy, I think he's going to be a superstar.
Do me a quick favor, Sean.
Yeah.
Look at the computer right now. How long are we into this segment, if you got to do your math correctly?
14 minutes.
Okay.
So we're about,
I think I've had everyone wait long enough. My tease that I had in the last segment of what if, this is for me.
Oh, this is the Suns thing?
This is the Suns thing. What if Memphis sits there and goes, number 1, hey, you know what? We don't really want to take Ayton, but these Suns, they really want Ayton. They really want him. And they work out a deal.
The Suns are sitting at the 2 right now, right?
Okay. What if they work a deal out with the Suns to get maybe the second, maybe some more picks, maybe a player from the Suns, and just move down from 1 to 2? Suns take Ayton, which in the NBA, the Grizzlies would have to take Ayton first, and then the Suns would take whoever Memphis wants, which could be Michael Porter Jr.
So then they get like the 16th pick as well?
They could get either the 15th or the 16th or whatever player you want to throw in that deal. I would look at that too,
but
especially if the Suns are like, hey, you really hey, Phoenix, you really like DeAndre Ayton. I'm willing to give him to you. Yeah, but what's the price?
But so that means, like, I don't know how that would work out. So you're just trying to play a mental game with them.
Yes, basically, if I can get
he
Michael
wants the Chicago Bears them.
Basically, what if I can get Michael Porter Jr. at 2 and get something additional from the Suns?
I understand your thought process.
But if Porter comes out and plays the way you guys are talking, is there any chance? Would there be
the Suns would
reason?
Want him?
Yeah, the superstar potential is there. If he comes out, looks strong, plays well.
That's the only thing that might throw a wrench into it. You just take the guy.
But at least right now, we haven't seen him on the floor. Right. Outside of the 2 minutes he played against Iowa State.
And that's why
those were some glorious 2 minutes that Ricky and I saw live in person.
And that's why
you didn't see Michael Porter live. That game was at Missouri.
You're thinking Bagley.
I'm thinking Bagley.
Yeah,
we saw Bagley.
Yeah. We saw the day 1 game. But the reason why I thought that during the Suns one, that at that time, didn't even think about Michael Porter Jr. It wasn't until after the segment started, I was like, hey, you know what, MPJ could be going. That could throw a wrench into it, but it would be to me, hey, let me gauge out the Suns. And if the Suns seem like they're hard on DeAndre Ayton, then I try to kind of swindle them and get something for that and get MPJ and something additional.
My thought with the Suns is if they really want Ayton, then they'll go and get Ayton, but also you're not. I mean, Memphis isn't for sure taking DeAndre Ayton number 1.
No.
So they still have that possibility to get Ayton at 2 if they go away and take a Luka or an MPJ or, hell, Trae Young number 1. I don't know what Memphis is going to do. But, like that's the thing is I don't know if the Suns would give up the possibility of having 3 picks in the top 16 picks.
I don't even know if it would be the farm. It would possibly be. It would either be a player in the 2 or either like the 15, 16, one of those and the 2 for the number 1 pick.
I don't know.
That seems like a lot.
Yeah, like pick swap wise, like you still have the possibility to get Ayton is a thing, and you're still pick swapping and adding more just to make sure you get Ayton when you still have like probably a 50% chance to get Ayton at that number 2 spot.
But and this is the whole mental mind game. If the Grizzlies make the Suns think they're going to take Ayton, then it could be. It all matters of how you play the game, of how you can trick for the Grizzlies, it would be tricking the Suns into that deal.
Let's do this. Let's play a little role. We have talked about the Memphis Grizzlies front office on this podcast before.
Oh, I don't think
I
they
have
can
talked
pull it
about
off.
GM Chris Wallace before. I have made my statements and my beliefs
But they're
on
the
Chris
worst front
Wallace
office.
made before.
If I recall correctly, you were not favorable of him.
I think he should be fired because he is a bad GM.
Good point.
So,
Good point.
with you throwing all this mastermind trickery, we're gonna get the Suns believing we're gonna take.
doing
we
what
already
I
have
do
the 8th
best,
jersey
man.
being made in the factory. We already have
Yeah, for Phoenix.
have them rolling out for Memphis Grizzlies. But if you give us everything you need, we'll give you the pick swap and we'll take some picks. I don't think Chris Wallace is smart enough to do that. So. It's a great idea, but again, there's a ton out there, and then it comes down to, can Memphis actually do that? No, he can't because Chris Wallace is an idiot. So they're probably going to bench the number 1 overall pick. They're probably going to be like, oh, we're going to wait till the great offer is going to come, and then they're probably going to not even get the pick in enough time, and they're going to have to just flip anyways.
Question.
Yeah.
What if, because they're so close, it's like a half game, what if Memphis is at the 1, Dallas is at the 2? Because would Dallas really need to go with a Michael Porter Jr. because they have a Harrison Barnes? They have a guy that can already fit that, and they would be more inept to go with a DeAndre Ayton over an MPJ.
So wait, what's your so
Basically,
trade-wise?
same situation. Take the Suns, put them at 3. Take the Mavericks, put them at 2. Now it's a swap between the Grizzlies and the Mavs.
I mean, it could happen, but I mean, then again, you're throwing in players because they don't have the pick. The Phoenix things works because they have 15 and 16.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I understand where it comes from with the Suns. The Mavericks one is a little bit tricky. I still
But the Grizzlies, like Dave said, they end it. Take anything, and even if that's additional players along with
Yeah, I mean,
MPJ.
that's the thing. I think that if they could find a way to get multiple picks in this draft, they would be thrilled.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're listening for offers, but in the NBA, star power wins. And I don't care if you give me 3 picks between 10 and 25. If I get the number 1 overall, I need that 1 overall.
But we also talked about this so many times. Like, we just talked about Marvin Bagley at going probably 7, 8, or 9, and we just said he could be a superstar.
Well,
so,
you said.
I don't think he's a superstar.
You gotta say,
there's a
you
lot
got
of our
two-
fans. There's a lot of our fans and a lot of people.
There's a
that
lot
think
of
he could-
hype around Bagley.
Let me just finish. I think that there's a lot of people that think he could be a superstar. So, again, we're talking at a guy at 8, 7, 9, around there that could still be a superstar.
Right.
There's a ton of players in this draft, this very top-heavy draft, that could be possible superstars. And if you're sold on a guy like Marvin Bagley at 7 or 8, why not move down and then get a couple more picks, and you can get a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who can be a future point guard for you. I mean, like, you can not only get the superstar that you want, exactly like what Boston did, where they still got the player that they wanted, but at 3, and were able to add more picks last year with the Fultz and Tatum swap. Like, there's still that ability to get those players. So that's the one thing that. Again, I think you could possibly see a trade happen for that number 1 spot. We got to move away from the number 1 thing. But if you're the Grizzlies at number 1, who are you taking? What prospect best fits them at number 1, Dave?
I think I'm still going with Luka at number 1. I think that he has the basically a 0% mischance. Like, he will be a quality NBA player. He can be a superstar. That's kind of where I go with that. Like, what he's doing right now at his age is pretty unprecedented. What he's doing at that level of competition at his age is even more, it's even more impressive. So I think that is the safest pick overall to take as a team that desperately needs to make themselves back into a winning fashion.
Ricky,
You changed my mind, and I'm not making safe picks at number 1. I'm going with the guy that will be a star, Michael Porter Jr.
Hey, I'm not saying that DeAndre Ayton and Luka Doncic won't be stars.
You
in the
changed
NBA.
my mind, man. You changed it.
But I said this back when we were yelling at each other when we did the green screen action. That Michael Porter Jr. I was going to say Marvin Bagley because I think yours is Bagley. No, it was still Luka.
Yeah, still Luka.
But Michael Porter was my number 1 player, and now he's coming back. Again, this is before he's come back and played. He can go out and just be.
So what if he averages like 12 points, 6 boards, and an assist a game?
It's going to be rough to convince people. I mean, he can come back at the combine and have a great combine, but then again, I don't think that's going to put him at the number 1 spot. If he comes out and plays poorly,
If he balls out,
if he
then
comes
I
out and plays
gotcha.
poorly, then I don't think he's going to be a number 1 pick.
That's what I'd be curious about.
So that's why I think Aiden's going to go to the Grizzlies.
I like it.
So
we
me
got-
and you
we gotta
just
swap.
basically flipped.
Yeah. So and Dave's never flipped, but I think that Porter, if he
He's
comes
not
out and,
flipper or
plays
flopper.
phenomenally, he's gonna be the number 1 pick for the Grizzlies. I think he's the best fit for the Grizzlies.
He
We
could
talked
be,
about Bagley being a great fit. I think Porter's even a better fit, and he's a better. He's a higher
I
potential,
agree,
higher
yeah.
ceiling. So, but again, we see the closeness between 7-1, where Brooklyn is at the 7th spot right now in the NBA lottery simulator. They're a game and a half behind that number 1 spot. So with Memphis, they're not for sure locked in that number 1 spot. What other players behind Ayton, behind Doncic, behind Porter could be guys that could fit this team outside of Bagley as well, since we already talked about him? Which guys do you think that could fit into this Memphis situation and really be a player that could be a future star for them or future starter for them and be really good in the NBA? Which player fits Memphis outside of that number 1 overall spot?
With me, if I'm going off of fit and not BPA like Dave mentioned earlier, I'm looking at any of the 4s. I'm looking at Bagley. I'm looking at Jackson Jr. That's what I'm targeting. But really, if they're not number 1, like I could see Trae Young being drafted. I could see them just going best player available. And if it's Trae Young, boom, Trae Young's a Grizzly.
It's just you're going BPA.
Yeah,
then.
And then
so you are just going BPA.
Number 1 is interesting because I feel like that one you can play with, well, do we want to go with need? Do we want to go with BPA? Or like later on, it could fit more of like, well, we really need a 4. This guy's a 4. He could fit in. But really, it depends on where they fall. Could go BPA, could go with a 4, like a Jaren Jackson or Marvin Bagley.
David?
Yeah, I think if you're still on 3-5, I'd take Jaren Jackson if he was there. If you end up going even further back to that like 5-8 range, 5-9, I'd start to look at some of the wings out there. I would look heavily at either one of the Bridges. I like them both. I think Mikal I give a slight edge to, but I just think that, honestly, this is a team where no matter what you take, it's just as long as you think that guy can succeed, it doesn't matter about fit because they will get minutes. They're rolling out with a D-League roster for like the 3rd year in a row with like guys who we were playing Guess That Player in their starting lineup the other night. I mean, like, that's literally how deep they're going right now.
I went 4 or 5 too.
You did a good job.
Who was the player? One player I missed. I got the Harrison brothers. I think there was one player that
there was one more.
I whiffed. But anyways, we actually we're pretty decent at guessing the Memphis Grizzlies starters. But if we're looking at this real quick, like at worst they're going to be at 7. So Luka's going to be off. Ayton's going to be off. Bamba's most likely going to be off. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be off. Bagley will still be out there most likely. Porter Jr. iffy, but he'll probably be gone. Right. Trae Young will be gone. So out there, we'll talk Colin Sexton, Wendell Carter Jr., Marvin Bagley. Again, this is at worst. Both Bridges, Mikal, and Miles, and you also got Kevin Knox. So those are probably the guys at that 7 spot that they could go after. Dave mentioned the wings.
Are you asking us what we would do there?
No.
Or are you just throwing it out there?
Okay. You guys are done talking.
Yeah, Sean's turn.
I'm wrapping up the podcast. Okay. We got to go. But those are the players that are out there at that 7th spot. Out of that whole pool, Sexton, Carter Jr., Bagley, Mikal, Miles, Kevin Knox. The guy that it would probably go there is Bagley. We talked about him before. He's going to fit well into this offense with the players that they currently have. He's got the potential in my mind to become a superstar. Not saying that he's going to. I think his ceiling is a superstar. I think he's got a low floor and the high ceiling. I think it's more likely that he's going to fall in the middle of that. But he still has that ceiling of being a superstar. I feel like you got to go. In that situation, Marvin Bagley III for the Grizzlies, but a guy that could possibly fit into that spot would be a guy like Miles Bridges. I think Miles would fit nicely into that Memphis mindset, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, he's not really a superstar. He's not a guy, Mike Conley is not a top 10 point guard. He's very close.
The almost all-star.
Marc Gasol is a great center, but no one's ever thought he's the best center in the NBA. Miles Bridges, I think that his top could be a very great wing, and I think he does a lot of things well. I think he could be a nice leader as well in the NBA. That's why I would say Miles Bridges, because he's got the mental makeup of what I think a Grizzly would be. I think he's got the smarts. I think he's got the attitude. I think he's got, coming from Izzo, I think he's got the demeanor of an NBA player and a guy who could really be an NBA player for the next 15 years. And I think that's what Memphis looks for. It's guys that have that longevity, that can consistently plug players in and around. That's why you see Marc Gasol staying around, Zebo staying around, Conley staying around. Tony Allen as well.
Are you saying they don't have the sexiness to pull in the free agents?
Well, no, they don't. Memphis? And that's the thing. They want guys that are really going to be committed. And I think you see that in Miles Bridges. He was committed to Michigan State. He was committed to staying and being for everything that Tom Izzo and the Spartans stand for. Maybe
even
that's
when his
a little
mom
illegal.
told him to go get that cash.
They got the cash a little bit else. But well, allegedly.
Apparently, I think it was Noah Conley said we dare not put Miles Bridges' name in that and that he was clear.
We didn't. Yahoo did.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Noah. we didn't do it. We didn't write the report.
No,
Blame
he's a
Yahoo.
Michigan State fan, so I can understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, I know that guy.
I'd be defending
he's
my guy,
commented
too.
before. He always calls us an idiot, so I'll give it right back to him. But final thing, I think Bridges has the mental makeup of a Memphis Grizzly. So outside of Bagley, I would say Bridges would probably be the best fit for them if they're not picking in that top 5 again, which is crazy. Right now they've lost 12 straight, but they still could be, they win a couple games, they can be all the way down to 7. But anyways, we're going to wrap up the Fast Break podcast. We want to thank everybody who's watching on YouTube, listening on Blog Talk Radio, listening on iTunes, so much for helping and supporting us and letting us grow. Everyone who follows us on Twitter too and been talking to us back and forth. We appreciate all your help. We talked about the Grizzlies. We talked about Marvin Bagley III. We talked about AD. Let us know any of your thoughts and comments down in the comment section below, or hit us up on Twitter at MostValuablePod. Also, don't forget to check out patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast if you want to help us and support us in any different way. And also, don't forget to rate us 5 stars on iTunes, both the Fast Break, Onside Kick, Primetime Podcast, and the Rick and Johnny Podcast. But for Dave Oster, Ricky Widmer, I'm Sean Anderson. We'll see you next time.